had kind of a bumper year for Game of the Year candidates, and I would say that the thing that most of them have in common is that they feel a lot more human, for better or worse, than the other games that have come out this year. You think of your Baldur's Gate 3s, your Alan Wakes. In those games, it kind of shines through that the people working on this believe in the concept and have had a lot of fun actually making this thing, and it really translates onto the screen in a way that you can't deny. And I think the reason that the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood is my game of the year is just because it's the one of those games that was most up my alley that I've played this year. It's about a witch who's casually living it up in space, has spent 1,000 years in isolation away from her coven because she predicted their forthcoming demise using our tarot deck. It's about gradually reconnecting with this kind of interstellar witching world. It's an interesting game to play after COVID because, I mean, as a whole, because nobody wants to be reminded that COVID was a thing, games have kind of ducked the issue of COVID because it would just create a depressing thing that wouldn't provide any kind of escapism. So I think having a kind of be this isolated person, and basically the main gameplay loop is you having different people come to visit you in your little hideout and talking to them. It's a really kind of interesting way to play with the isolation that created for everybody, where you're seeing people, you know, via video calls instead of face-to-face, that kind of thing, and just the kind of interactions that you're having rather than going out places and being with people for a while just feel a bit kind of fragmented. And I think it does a great job of kind of portraying that and blending that with the way that the narrative goes, which I won't spoil, but basically it's you reading the futures and pasts of the people that you're talking to and trying to influence the world in positive ways or negative ways, depending on what choices that you want to make. And then towards the end, it randomly just decides to become a really intense political sim. Lovely little change of pace. It makes sense as the natural kind of climax of what you've been doing the whole time, because instead of sort of influencing things in the micro, all of a sudden you're doing it in the macro, and it also kind of works with how it's trying to get you to take responsibility for the different things that you're reading. You're no longer kind of able to just say whatever you want without kind of having to think about what will this do down the line, which is important from a choice and consequence perspective. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but the main thing that I like about video games is having big responsibilities. And it's a game that's essentially a love letter to the concept of writing and creativity, from the way that the actual narrative of it plays out down to the fact that you can sit on your bed and read interactive fiction, which is quite fun. And there's a decent amount of kind of replayability in it, because obviously with it being choice and consequence, that's one of the main kind of things. Because I did at least 2 or 3 playthroughs when I reviewed it, just to try and get a gauge of, right, if I do things different, does this actually change how things go, or is it just kind of aesthetic window dressing? And it did change the way that things went, and I ended up with kind of different things happening every time.
So it's a deep, space-bound, BioWare-style choice and consequence narrative that plays out via the medium of tarot readings.
Yes, but there's nobody saying anything anywhere near as stupid or goofy as Wheel Bang OK. There's a couple of moments that get a bit close to that, but by and large, the dialogue is funny when it wants to be, serious when it wants to be, without ever quite reaching the level of a generic bald man going, "We will have sex now, indeed."